Wake up, motherfucker.
Yo, hey, what's up? It's gonna be late night edition. We're gonna do a real quick one here. Should be an hour. All right. Um, I'm gonna try read the book of Esther to close it out. So that should take about 30 minutes. Okay, let's put this on the screen. Okay, so this is the earnings. I thought it was just gonna be all Chinese earnings, but I guess this quarter is going to be a bit different. We're going to get Broadcom actually on Wednesday after the close. So AVGO and Marvell, MRVL Thursday after the close. So we actually do get these things quite early this time around. So those will decide how the semiconductors are going to be. And then I'm not sure when Oracle's going to have its earnings. So that's going to be a big one. From what I've seen, they think it's sometime next week, maybe Monday, but there's no official announcement, so I have no clue. But yes, those will be the two I'm looking at. We have some other ones. You see Target up here. Might be a bellwether for consumer discretionary because Walmart's kind of in the staple side of retail. Target is more upscale. So sometimes when Target does badly, the market has a bad reaction to it. We'll see. I don't know. I don't really think retail stocks really have too much an effect though. Yeah, it's really so concentrated in technology that the only time it really mattered a lot was during COVID when we had shutdowns that were being lifted. So people were very curious to see how much people were going back into these stores like Target. And so like I remember Dick's Sporting Goods. You know, Dick's Sporting Goods when they reported earnings one time during the COVID reopenings, they were like really like hitting that stock a lot for some reason. It was swinging up and down. Like one time it dropped 50% on a bad earnings during that time. It was wild. But nowadays with everything in I don't think they have much of an effect. So Target probably won't have an effect, but you know, tomorrow morning, it's tomorrow morning. Who knows? It could have something. They could do something, right? Let's see. CrowdStrike Tuesday after the close. So that's probably going to be with the software stuff. So it might matter, you know. And we have Ciena, CIEN. That's kind of like with the AAOI stock I was talking about earlier. And you remember Lumentum, LITE? I talked about that before. And Coherent, COHR. So those stocks kind of have been the leaders of the semiconductor-ish stocks. So not really semiconductors, but you know, they have to deal with the optical fibers and interconnects. So they deal a lot with AI data centers. If they don't have enough of a growth, then you'll see some issues there. But again, it's in between Marvell and Broadcom, two of the semiconductors that also have chips that do AI. So a lot of their earnings will affect all that. Yo, Dancer, what's up, Dancer? Yeah, and then we have Costco. Costco should be a no-brainer, right? Kroger, I don't think will do anything, but if you care about the, grocery shopping sector, definitely Kroger KR is going to be important to see how that does because tariffs kind of matter, right? Inflation. So maybe people will look at Kroger as a bellwether too. So Kroger and Target, I put in like might affect the markets, but mostly it's Broadcom, Marvell. Okay. Yeah, this is all stock stuff, all stocks. And then after 30 minutes, I'll read the book of Esther because this is Purim. We're still in Purim right now. It will end in Israel at 10:30-ish a.m. Eastern. Yeah. So we will read that because this is the holiday to read that book, apparently. And it's an interesting book to read, especially when it deals with Persia and the persecution of the Jews. Yes, oil will skyrocket. Yes, so I've been telling people to buy UwU since for the past month, I think. So that's doing well. The other thing I'll mention too is Korean stocks. I have some international stocks I want you guys to look at. Um, Not saying that you should buy Korean stocks or anything. But for the people still hanging out in silver, you do know that there was something that beat both semiconductors and silver in the last couple months, right? Because if you guys were really looking for aggressive pumping stocks, you should have been looking in Korea. So let me put that up here. Let me see. EWK Korea. Okay. So we have an ETF. Well, I can look at the ETF proxy. So let me look at the monthly. Okay, put it up on the screen here. Oh, you know why that happened, Dancer? So you're talking about the diamonds. So did you know that De Beers, the monopoly in De Beers diamonds got something happened with their monopoly. So they had a monopoly even with lab grown diamonds. And so the thing is like, this is why I've always hated diamond prices. It's artificial. You see gold and silver, copper, oil, they all have a market where people trade it. You never heard of a diamonds futures market, right? Nobody can tell you what exactly a diamond is worth. It's all artificial. It's all artificial. They just monopolize the mines. And then when all these lab grown ones came around, they tried to kind of like, try to promote that real diamonds are somehow better and unique, but that didn't work. And then they tried to, I guess, make their own, like, oh, well, this is approved by us, lab grown diamonds or whatever. And something happened, I think 3 years ago. Somebody on Bloomberg TV, they were talking about this and said, like, the diamond prices are now going to crash. There was something I forgot. I had a clip. I think I saved that clip from that guy who said it was 3 years ago. Something happened and they lost everything. So yeah, it's not a surprise. Diamond prices are going back to where it should be worth. It's just a hard rock, honestly. So check out Israeli defense stock. Oh, okay, cool. Okay, extend. I think I've heard of this one. Okay, let me put that on the list. TAU Ventures. Israel's stock market also has been doing very good since last year. So it's one of the best performing stock markets out there, aside from Korea, which I'm going to show you guys right now. Okay, extend. Okay. When it hits the Nasdaq. Oh, it has an IPO. I might have talked about it actually, because extend sounds familiar. I might have mentioned it, so I forget. Elbit. Okay. Elbit. All right. Okay. Weapons. Israel. All right. I'm also was going to talk about the Israeli stock market too. So good thing you guys are mentioning that. So I'll have to look into some of these. Definitely a lot of opportunities out there outside of the US. So this is the Korean stock market. See? So this is January and February. You see that? That's crazy. It looks familiar, doesn't it? Like the whole move here. Let me put up silver. You see that? It's pretty it matches it pretty well. So the blue line is silver. Huh. So yeah, all you guys are hiding out in silver. I think you guys should have switched over to Korea in January. And there is an ETF that does leverage. So KORU 3X Bull shares of Korea. So I am not advising anybody to buy this. Because this is just following the AI bubble, all right? Silver, same thing. It's all the materials that goes into things that need to be put into data centers and such. So, of course, silver, copper follow that same logic. Now, Korea follows that same logic. I love geopolitics. Yes. Oh man, but man, this is the same thing with AOI. I was talking about this stock in the morning. We today we actually cracked the previous high. Okay, so AOI is the stock that I use to learn trading. So when I decided I was not just going to do buy and hold like I usually did. So before 2017, I was just a buy and hold guy. I never traded, but I decided then that I was prepared to like leave my job, retire. Like I wasn't going to go look for another job. I knew our company got bought out, and I was just thinking, well, okay, once you get bought out, you got to think about moving on to another company because, the new company culture is probably not going to be the same. I'm not going to have fun like I used to have because I did have fun, and I'm getting up there in age. Okay. Like, will I like it going to another company, a new company, learning all the office politics, do everything again? Um, I had friends that could have just been like, okay, I could jump to another company where I knew people so that I didn't have to, be worried about protecting my ass in the office. But I said, I'm done. I'm done with the games, playing games. I want out. So I started learning with this stock. And this stock is an optical company, and they only have one customer basically back then. It was Amazon or Facebook. I don't remember which one, but they were building a lot of data centers. So during the 2016 into 2018 time period, a lot of data centers were being expanded on. Not like now. Now it's insane with the AI stuff, a lot more insane. But this was kind of like that push to increase cloud computing. Okay. After that disappeared, after they stopped like expanding, this company went back to normal because this company only does things for cable TV and some other broadband services like telecom, boring stuff, low growth. Data centers is where the growth is, and now with the AI stuff, you see it's gone wild again, and we've gone back here to this point. And this morning, I said, well, I'm not recommending you to trade it or not. I think I mentioned this a couple times back when I was doing the first edition of my show. And I said, this is a good trading stock. If you like it, you can see like when it goes to $9, this is a very important area. You could trade it because every time it goes to 9, it bounces away and then it comes back. It bounces like here. Once it got through 9, you see it just went wild around it. Uh, but this last time, like April, right? It got to 9. And this time it finally broke 43. 43 was an important area. So earnings, we had earnings on Thursday, Friday. So I'll watch this stock, not necessarily meaning I tell you guys to buy it, but it's a good indicator for AI. If people keep buying this thing and it keeps rocketing up, you'll know when it turns because I think this thing will be the first one to go down hard, just like here in 2017. If you see that, like you watch this one, you watch the memory stocks like Micron, right? If you see them like shoot up and then all of a sudden crash back down, then you kind of have an idea, oh, maybe the AI bubble's about to really pop. So look for the small. This is a small company, okay? So this stock is easy to move up and down. So I think this one will be one of the first to tell you that something's wrong. And then you'll start seeing the other companies start having issues because it's harder to move a bigger company like Nvidia up and down. All right. Seriously. It's just, I doubt Nvidia will just crash. Okay. It'll take a while before it does that. Here, you'll see right away. If people really have doubts about AI, the smaller companies are the ones you watch. So this one, put on your list. Have you made good profit from buying, selling stocks? I made okay, just to make a living, I suppose. Because once I retired, it's like I could probably kind of live okay, decently with what I had before by just buying and holding, but I wasn't 100% sure. You kind of are at the whim of like, well, I kind of need income And the only way I can get income is if I can trade and see if I make like a few thousand a month at least, right? That was my thinking at first, because I was sacrificing like a good wage. But even then, I was just like, bro, even after taxes, is that really good wage in California? It's like, man, if I could somehow just like learn to trade a little bit and have a buffer, so I would still have my long-term stuff, right? I still have my buy and hold stuff, but I'll use like a certain amount of cash so that I could learn how to try to like, okay, can I just make a few K a month at least, right? And then from there, I just built it on top of that. It's like, okay, since I can make a few K, can I add more risk and start like seeing if I can make 5K, 10K? Basically, if I wanted my old salary again, it has to be like about 10K, yeah, a month. Um, Essentially, yeah, that was what when I retired, that was how much I was making. So, and California is very expensive. So you think 10K a month is a lot? No, California is so fucking lame. Like, especially with the gas prices still so high. When I left work, what was it, at $3 a gallon? We're still stuck at $4 a gallon now. Like, we never went back to three, really. I've only seen a few times we've gone to three something, and it was basically like $3.80, like twice since then, right? Since COVID and all that shit. Man, fuck that. It's yeah. So living in the other plan was to leave to Texas, right? But so anyway, enough of that. Anyhow, AOI is the thing to watch. Watch this stock, important stock. This can be the bellwether you need. If you want to trade it, I'll have to look at this further because I wouldn't be buying up here. All right, see if it pulls back first, because this is a significant break to get above 46. Now it's trying to get above 100, but this is not enough evidence for me to believe that it's going to stick. Okay, so wait a while, because this could be crazy. Once we get the new Fed chair too, that will be important. That will be the important one. So Korea, we mentioned that, right? So EWY is the ETF for Korea. I'll definitely talk about Mexico and Brazil, and two other ones that I'm looking at. This one, yeah, it's really AI driven right now. But for anybody that really thinks they want silver to keep going up, you might want to look at this, because if AI is still wants to have a next bubble up, I think we have to pull back first. So wait for that, and then we'll watch it. Um, but yeah, I think this will be a better play than anybody that wants some crazy silver play. I have a silver ETF for you. This one's relatively new. So SLVR. SLVR is a Sprott miners and physical silver ETF. So it combines silver mining stocks with physical silver in its holdings. And the good thing about Sprott is, like, if you hold this thing long term, it can help you with taxes, because gold and silver long term taxation, capital gains, is different than stocks, bonds, and futures. So they tax it very funny. They tax it like a collectible. A collectible meaning like Pokemon cards, baseball cards, art, stuff like that. It's bad. So even though you're holding something for over a year, you think you get better tax treatment. Actually, apparently, if you own silver and gold, platinum, palladium, any precious metal, they count it as a collectible. And collectible taxation, if you look it up in the IRS, is not favorable in long term. You want that nice capital gains tax, right? For holding things for long term. You're not getting it because they classify it as a collectible, and you fill out a different form. Okay. So you can see, like, when you do your Schedule D or something, there's like, oh, is it a collectible? Oh, you got to do this thing and calculate it this way. And it's like, oh, shit. And then once you do it, you realize you got screwed over. So that's why a lot of rich people, when they do art, they kind of make it so that it's hard to figure out what the initial price was. Usually people lie, okay, in the art world. They just erase what the price they bought it at auction, and they write in a different number. So yeah, that's always a problem. Yeah, I'm curious. Let's see. I've got what we call super. superannuation here in Australia? I think it's 401. Oh, yeah, it's 401k probably. Um, inheritance. So I want to learn. Yeah, okay, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, yeah. Okay, I'll look it up. I'll have to see if that's what it is. Superannuation. Man, taxation is so annoying. I don't have enough knowledge there. If somebody else, made a show just on that, that would be great. You know, because when you trade futures, there's fun ways to do taxation with that. So there's benefits there. And around the world, there's going to be different rules, and it's oh my god. Okay, Australia. All right, Australia. But yeah, if you get your inheritance, that's nice. That's nice. Definitely should use that money and think long term. And if you have kids or grandkids, that's the good thing to learn too, because you'll learn it for them and you can teach them, and they'll be better off. Honestly, yeah. All the stuff I did was because I learned it young. So or property. It depends on your goals. I never did property investments just because I didn't like the headache of doing it. If you grow up with people that know how to do it and things, when you're young, definitely you'll probably do that more. And of course, you need to live somewhere, right? So if you don't own a house anyway, yeah, definitely it might be because I knew a friend who just did flip houses, okay, and because like he just rented and then all of a sudden he just decided, oh man, fuck this. Why am I paying all this rent? I'll just buy a house, get roommates, like, buy a beat down house, fix it up myself, learn it. So it depends on your personality. I just hate the idea of having to do something like that. Um it's really a family thing too. Yeah, I think. A lot of Asian families probably is easier, because they're fine with living with their family if it saves them money, so they kind of get used to that. So then they'll share money to own property, and then they'll learn it that way, right? Then they'll start buying more properties, and then just that's just how it is. Yeah. But I never got into that. I never got into that. Living hours is a lot of work. Yeah, yeah. You have to really be committed. So my friend was just like, once he got going, he was just boom, 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 just kept doing it. So he did well with doing that way. For me, stocks are kind of like they don't talk back to you. I don't need to worry about like tenants or roommates. Oh man, I think that's the reason I didn't want to do it too. Is like, oh man, I have to get roommates, like because like I need someone to give me some money so I could pay the mortgage, and then I'll use that to get a loan. But if you did it before the COVID times in America, it's easier in America too. So that's the thing. You're in Australia. Maybe it makes no sense to do that in Australia because in America it's just like it's a different game, right? We have 20-year loans, 10, 15 and 20-year or 30-year. 30-year? Okay, whatever. Something like that. 7, I think there's a 7, 15 and 30. Yeah, something. And I know in Canada they don't have that. It's like they have 5-year loans, and then once the 5 years are up, they have to reset the interest rate to the next level, right? So if think about it, if you can have a fixed loan for 30 years at a nice low interest rate, so if you got it during COVID when everything got slammed down, the interest rates got slammed down, then you see, of course, it makes sense financially to do that. In other countries, might not be so attractive when you're thinking like, oh, after 5 years, I have to like get a new loan and it gets set to the higher interest rate. Then what's the point? So yeah, that's the difference, right? You see the difference. That's why it's easier to reduce inflation in some countries. In America, it has been quite challenging because a lot of people just hoard the houses because they're like, I got 30-year loans. I don't want to buy another house. I don't want to put my house in the market because I want to keep that house at a fixed rate. Uh, so that's why the supply gets constrained, right? And then like you have all these people that want houses, but nobody wants to sell their old houses because they're all locked into the nice interest rate set in COVID-19. And it's just like, fuck. See, it causes issues then. Canada's a different story. Canada's inflation issues because like all the foreigners come in and buy up all the houses. So there's a lot of Chinese and Indians come in there. So I'm sure Australia is the same problem like that. I'm not sure about your loan issues though. I don't know if it's the same as Canada, like you're locked into 5 years. But definitely that will change your thinking. You're like, fuck that. I'd rather do stocks or bonds and of course gold and silver. And yeah, the Australian dollar is definitely dependent on silver and mining. Okay. All right. Let me see. I think I digressed too much there. Let's see what else. We got to look at Mexico. Mexico just broke out here. Let's see. I'm going to talk to Bitcoin later. But yeah, we already broke out of this area, this zone that's been long lasting. Oh man, since 2013 was this high up here. At this bottom at 2008, just before the crash of 2008, 2007, 2008. So we finally broke out. So Mexico, I think all that nearshoring, all the things that going against China right now, Mexico has been doing fine. Of course, you hear about the cartels and blah, blah, blah. But honestly, there's a lot of nice Mexican stocks. And I mentioned this. So EWW is the ETF. I mentioned this because there are South American stocks, okay, that are doing well, and Central American stocks. And this one here, so this is telecom, mobile, in I think all in South America. I think this one covers all of them. So this has done really good since 2022. I've been pretty impressed by this one, and it's still rising. So it's been hard for me to recommend this one. It's just like it doesn't pull back. It doesn't seem to give any indication that it's going to take a break. And now that it's broken, it's about to break this area right here, right? It's like, well, okay, maybe this thing will not pull back. Like this is amazing stock. Fuck, man. Yeah, I think I have to add it. I can't say that this thing would go back down now. Once it's broken this seal here at 72, 70, 72. Oh man, this will keep going, huh? This thing's gonna keep going. Yeah, so it's called Millicom International Cellular. All right, so TIGO for the U.S. trading. So yes, Airbnb. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, yep. Airbnb is also another concern. Short term. That's what we call short term housing, rentals and stuff. That's affecting things. Yeah, and this one's in Colombia. So it had bad earnings. It had earnings last. So both of these had earnings like today or late last week. This one, no good. This is what I'm afraid of. Like I recommend you that stock, this telecom stock, and it's going to have one bad earnings one day. It's just going to go back down to 40. But it survived this earnings, so shoot, man. I guess it's just going to keep going up. Okay, I'll have to look into it more. This one, okay, we're right back here. You see this? We're right back here. So we fell right back to this important zone here because it had a hard time breaking this in 2010 to 2013. And now we're back here. So I'll keep this on the watch list. I'll keep the other one too. Yeah, but I'm definitely bullish on Mexico overall. So I'll keep trying to look for other Mexican stocks. This one, damn, cement, I thought we could break out of here, but we didn't. So I might have to kick this off the list. This is not good. Man, I was really hoping for Mexican cement to really bust out, but maybe not this time. So CX, we'll have to see. Brazil is another one, EWZ. So look at this ETF. See how this one is. Yeah, I'm liking it. Okay, so this one did well in December, January. Okay, January. Okay, January really forced. Okay, going up. That's not bad. It's gonna take some more work though to convince me about Brazil. There is one Brazilian stock that's gonna have earnings this Friday or something like that. PBR, not Pabst Blue Ribbon. Okay, PBR is the basically the state-owned. I think it's state-owned now. I think they wanted to keep this private, but the state took it over. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing overall for the long-term prospects, but oil definitely will be going up in price. So I assume that's not going to affect things. We're still going to go up, right? So Petroleo Brasileiro, okay? There you go. PBR. It's about to break this. Could be good. And I have a Canadian stock for you that I like. I always like this one. So this is French Canadian. I don't know. Maybe you don't like French Canadians, Quebecois, but Embraer. Okay, this one has had a nice trend since 2023. They kind of make most of their business in like the corporate jet stuff. Hey, what's up, Duwale? Yeah, corporate jets, and it has been doing quite well since then. This is kind of like one of those things where I want to recommend it, but it doesn't seem to have a strong pullback. It just keeps going up and up and up and up in a nice straight line. And man, it already broke it quite a while ago. So I don't think this earnings is going to be bad. I think it's going to keep going up. That sucks because I know some of you might be like, man, I don't want to buy this thing. Like, when is it going to come back down? No, it looks like it's just going to keep that trend. So that's not a bad thing necessarily. Okay, guys, having a good trend, keeping it going up, not a bad thing. Okay, any other earnings that we might have to watch? ASTS, this is a wild one. This is a space satellite stock. I talked about this in 2024 a little bit. Like, you see this? It's like, okay, $25. All right, that's the blue line here. That was the high after the IPO. And then we had this like fight, this multi-month fight. How many months we had to fight? So we got here in August 2024. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And only in June of 2025 we broke out. This is a I can't, it's hard for me to recommend this one right now. Like, so I told people in 2024, like, if you want to take a risk, pay attention to this stock. It took many months, you see, right? It took nearly a year before it finally said, okay, time to go. And it finally broke out and went up. But like, it's not easy to hold. Like, you have 1 month that it goes up 63%, and the next month it's down like 30%. It's just not something I would recommend people as a buy and hold. A trade for sure. Trade. Is the market down because of the war? Market wasn't really down. I don't know. How are the German markets doing? Hey, Duale, since you're in Germany, why don't you have some German defense companies in your portfolio? You know, those are the best ones. Those are really good companies to have. Let me see. Let me just go to this screen here. Okay, let me share this. You should look at European defense companies, German, British. Those are the ones you should be looking at. Those have done very well since Ukraine, and they're gonna do a lot better now after we got war here. Okay. So I think they're going to continue going up now. And so let me put it up for you. Maybe you'll recognize some of these. Okay, let me share my screen here. Okay, Duale, take a screenshot. All right, take a screenshot. Okay, so we had earnings for Leonardo. So this is Italian. So this now 33% since New Year's. We got BAE Systems, 29% since New Year's. Lind. So this one does chemicals, not really defense, but it's in a lot of defense related applications. So Linde, so 19.45%. Okay, we already covered Leonardo. We don't need the other alternative Leonardo here. Rolls-Royce, I think, you know, that's probably the number 2 or number 5, number 2 to 5. I don't know which one. UK, largest UK companies. Babcock, what is it, 13%? Daimler, you know Daimler, 12.44%. Tyson Krupp, so this one is German steel. It hasn't been doing well recently, this one though. So, but still it's up like 9.87%. So you can look at the rest of the list, take the screenshot. Okay. Rheinmetall used to be a popular one right after the war, started in Ukraine. So Rheinmetall, I think you know so some of them. What about oil prices? I told people to buy oil like a month ago, bro. So it's gonna keep going up, baby. Yeah. Sorry, guys. Sorry. You should have got those in, huh? Other than oil, what's a good set and forget ETFs? I'm trying to find another one, dude. So I was looking at that Korean one. I was thinking like maybe I could add the Korean one with the Mexican one. Mexico is probably the next one I'm gonna tell you to get. So if I do Mexico, I'm gonna do leverage, right? And it's gonna be like this. It's gonna be like this. So MEXX is the one you want. MEXX. Okay. So there we are. We're at 36 now. All right. So when you compare MEXX with like SOXL was what I was in last year. So look. MEXX is about to go above it. So maybe this is going to outperform and take over from everything else. Let's compare it with the S&P right now. Yeah, it's definitely Mexico's definitely outperforming that, but this is not fair. Let me do TQQQ. So let me do leverage NASDAQ. How about that? Maybe that's a more fair comparison. Yeah. So Mexico at least is doing better than leverage NASDAQ. It's not necessarily doing better than the semiconductors yet, but so Mexico's coming up next. So MEXX. Okay. So we're gonna have a lot of nearshoring. And I've heard stories that there's a lot of inflows into international stocks. So not only small caps, international stocks. So that's good too. That's what I expected. I was thinking people want to look at international more and more as the year progresses. But the other one would be like healthcare, but still I have to see whether the pharmaceuticals are going to do well. Because usually at the end of a bull market, the pharmaceuticals will do well. Yeah. That's it. Oh man. Yeah, biotech. I still have to wait and see this one too. So it's hard to find it. I mean, Korea was basically the only one when I was like looking around today. I was just like, yeah, Korea's still doing well. This AI stuff has really been pushing it, but it's like, fuck this. I don't know. It's really just like silver, man. It's kind of like it's too bubbly. Like oil is just beginning the bubble, right? So when I was looking for stocks to buy in April, that was leveraged like this, just to set it and forget it. I just basically put semiconductors, and semiconductors have done well, right? Honestly, but there are a few things that eventually. The other thing too was gold miners leverage. So I had gold miners and silver miners, but I traded them in for gold leverage ETF GDXU. You see, so I already had this with it, and when you look at it, you're like, man, this is high risk. This is not something I would set and forget. And then you look at something like Korea, it's like, bro, I already have something high risk, and I'm gonna trade it in for this. Like, I don't see that this thing is being less risky than silver. But I just mentioned this because all the people that are in silver right now that have been sticking around with silver, bro, I don't think silver is going to keep going up this year. I think it's just going to go sideways. So if you want to take a stab at something that can keep going up, it's probably Korea. Okay, because I think this thing still could have legs. The momentum is really strong, but watch out. Let it pull back a bit because it's down right today at 7%. Let's see what happens this month. Let's see what happens. Especially with the Iranian stuff popping off. So maybe, this thing will just start weakening some more because currencies, right? This also gets affected by currencies a lot. The Korean won very sensitive, right? So a lot of the Asian currencies like that will definitely cause issues. But keep that in mind. You know, KORU if you want. Uh, So is in Dubai, housing property is low down. Time to buy and take. Oh, yeah. You know what? If you got connections there, that might not be a bad idea, man. You know, if you can, you probably have a big family. You know, you're Somali, right, Duale? So you could get some people and pool your money together. You could buy something up. It's still too early for industrial metals. You said lithium, uranium. Yeah. I'm still looking at lithium, uranium. I don't think it's early. I mean, not late. I mean, and not early. I mean, I think we're in the right spot. We're in a sweet spot right now. So we're ready to move a lot higher if we're ready. If you talk about like really early, last year was probably the low because China gave up on monopolizing it. That's kind of why lithium started shooting up in November around here. You see, August into November because then the Chinese stopped dumping lithium everywhere. So you could see the change right here over the summer, and then you see with SGML, it's kind of like that. But this is not like too late. But I'm not saying it's too early either, right? Uh, okay, but I didn't want to play a lot too much into this one because semiconductors were still good. So why would I move some of my capital, too much of my capital away from it? Now that I'm pretty much done with semiconductors, I'm looking for more opportunities other than oil. And this one and uranium. So of course, this is uranium miners, right? And then there's the junior miners. So URNM is the Sprott ETF for uranium miners. There's also the URNJ junior. So this is more risky. Okay, so that means this one will have a better time shooting up a lot higher. All right. So that's gonna be the play to make. And yeah, I think yeah, of course, everybody who buys that's why a lot of people who buy anything in April, that's why I didn't even talk about anything after April. It's like there was very few things that didn't go up since April. Very few things. One of them was oil. It went sideways. Lithium went down and then kind of went back up. Okay, so that's, I guess, is sideways. Banks, boring. Okay, banks were boring, right? So you see that, like, okay, you got to bounce on from April, but you went sideways. Now it's going down. So it's pretty much flat. Let's see. How about real estate? Real estate, has that been flat? Let's see. XLRE. Yeah. You see that? So only the month of April you had this crash, bounce back up, flat, pretty much flat, right? Come on. So boring stuff. So we have to plan out, like, okay, when should I move more of my money in this area and then take it away from another area? I could have went into lithium, I could have went to uranium, but semiconductors were still good. I could have been more of a risk taker and say, oh, forget semiconductors, push everything into silver and silver miners. Or I could have said, like, go to Korea and fly to the moon with these guys. But this looks scarier than silver to me. I was just like, what? What is this thing doing? This is outrageous. This AI stuff in Korea is just going bonkers. So yeah, it's tricky. That's why portfolio management is tricky. Some people, they want more gains quickly, but they hate it when, you know, they lose, right? You take a risk by buying up more gold miners or this, because who knows when the bubble really would have bursted. But I think hopefully when I get more and more experience with the cycles and this thing, I can predict this a lot better, and the DeMark indicators. That's the whole point of me trying to learn those things for you guys, because those are advanced stuff that I never knew when I started doing trading. When I started doing trading, I was just looking at this dumb stock, AAOI, and going like, what the hell? Why are people so optimistic? And then once it stopped, why are people still optimistic and still buying the dip? They kept buying the dip. They kept buying the dip. Once this happened, they started suing the company. They had a class action lawsuit. I kept following the people on Twitter, and the stock twits and all the places where the boomers were. Yahoo Finance, that's where all the boomers hang out, and they were always screaming and yelling at this company. It's like, what? I'm gonna sue this company, this and that. Who cares? You're only gonna get pennies on the dollar. Whatever you lost from buying the dip all the way down to here, it's like you're better off just been like, I'll just take the L and and take a loan and buy here and then ride it all the way back up, because now we're all the way back up, man, instead of like suing them and wasting time with lawyers. So yeah. Anyhow, yeah, I think this is why you need the demark stuff. For something like that, you need the demark stuff. Let me do this quickly, and then I'll go on to my reading of Book of Esther. Okay, let's see how much of the book I can get through, and then we'll continue on tomorrow. Okay, guys, because I see Bitcoin kind of trying to go down right now. All right, oil's juicing up. Yeah, let's see. Bitcoin is kind of looking weak for me. So I'm going to see what happens tomorrow morning. So I'll be back tomorrow morning, see what happens. If the NASDAQ wants to puke. I had the feeling that this was a trap today, but I'm not 100% certain it's going to happen tomorrow. But it didn't look convincing enough to me. With how much volume had to go into Bitcoin to push it up, that's not a good sign. You want low volume when it's going up that way, because we already tested it like on Thursday, and then it's like whoop. So you want low volume right now. It shouldn't be hard to push it up if people actually bought it at 60K and below. So I don't know what's going on. Why is it taking a lot of effort here? Okay, so let's see. I'm gonna put this and I'll put it up for you guys. Let's see what this thing looks like. Okay, the mark indicators. Let me do the monthly. Let's do the monthly, see how that is. So its target was 132. So I'm using the EWY, okay, ETF for Korean stocks. KORU is just 3x this, okay? So KORU is the performance is derived from this. So I'm not looking at the KORU. I'm using what it's based off of. It's based off of this, and it's just leveraged 3 times. So this is where it was targeted at 132. We hit it already. Okay. It's already completed a 9 count on the monthly, so it has a trend now going up, and we're gonna have to see if there's a new trend going to start going back down. But for now, I'm just gonna assume that it'll continue its way up, because this is new territory. We've never been this high before in Korea. Okay, and let me look at Israeli stocks. So EIS is the ticker. So EIS, another one that's acting like it's a bubble. So is Israel here. Come on. Damn. Man, this is a very strong trend. Very strong. So when was this? Since April? Yeah, probably since April or some shit. Let me refresh this. I think the thing got kind of screwed up here. Okay, let's see. Oh, actually, August of 2024. Okay, not bad. So this has been doing pretty well. Yeah, this has a stronger trend than Korea for sure. So yeah, I think it can continue. Korea definitely can continue, but it's just the beginning of its trend. Israel's trend is much more mature. So yeah, you have to wait and see, I think, for this one to be safe. This is the first time it's completed a 9 count on the monthly. You need a few of these before you say like, okay, we're cool here, because this is it's a monthly trend. So finishing 9 is very good. Of course, it did finish 9 here, right? And then after a few, usually what happens after you do a 9, you have to wait a few candles or bars here, like probably 4 bars to see what happens. So usually like here, 1, 2, 3, 4. After the 4th bar, you watch very carefully. You see this? It started making a new trend going down. So what we got like 1, 2, 3. This is gonna be the 3rd month. So probably wait for April. April. See what happens in April to May. If this thing can hold up better than it did here, it will continue going up. Yeah. So that's probably when it's gonna do that. Yeah, because you know why it's doing that? Because it has decay, because it's leverage. When it's going down, it's actually losing a lot more than when it comes back up. It's like the worst case. This is what happens when people buy leverage and they buy and hold. If you buy and hold like a moron, you're gonna get burnt. Like there was a lot of people buying this leverage during COVID. So this was one of the hot performers during COVID, okay? Outside of oil, like crude oil futures. So from April all the way up to 2021, right? So 2020 to 2021, this was the peak. And then when it kept going down, you know, people were just like, "Oh man, once it hits here at 7, well, it wasn't 781 before. This had multiple reverse splits, but they bought it here thinking it'll be cool, and then what happened was all the interest rates started going up because Jerome Powell was like, inflation is not transitory, and then Ukraine war and all this, and it never recovered. You see that? This has been dead because it's a small cap and it's full of like stupid biotechs that require FDA approval. So when it costs a lot of money to have loans, that's why you have to look at XBI. You can't look at lab. Yeah, you see, there's a big difference. And it got stuck down here for a long time, and people suffered if you buy and hold leverage like that. Only time you're gonna buy and hold leverage longer than a few months is because you think there's a big trend, like here, like semiconductors, right? So I see a trend, I'm gonna ride it. If the trend is ending, I don't want to touch you anymore, because if you just go sideways, up and down, up and down, up and down, I'm losing money because leverage takes cost. It also has a fee, right? These leverage ETFs, they take 1 something percent, a lot of them. So they're pretty expensive over time if you hold them. So it makes no sense to hold them. Most people actually have strategies where they want to short the leverage one. So yeah, some people do that because they have the decay. Best commodity, alcohol and cigarettes. I was looking at one company. I mean, I'm gonna have to look at weed too. Weed is gonna come back for sure. Those little weed stocks, those little penny stocks. Yeah, what's up, Latino? Ramen noodles. Oh man, I'm bullish on Israel, especially if Iran comes. Yeah, you're probably right. Eric. Yeah. Okay, time to read the Book of Esther. Let me see. I don't know if I have enough time to finish the book. Okay, 20 minutes. I don't think I can finish it now, but let's go. Let me put on some music and let's read this, because this is the holiday of Purim. Okay, so let me put some. Esther, chapter 1. Now it came to pass in the days of Assuerus. This is Assuerus, which reigned from India even unto Ethiopia, over 127 provinces. That in those days, when the king Assuerus sat on the throne of his kingdom, which was in Shushan, the palace. Wonder if that's Susa. So Susa is an actual real city. Assuerus, I guess, is Artaxerxes or something Xerxes. I don't know. I don't know the old Persian prefixes for the names. In the 3rd year of his reign, he made a feast unto all his princes and his servants, the power of Persia and Media, the nobles and princes of the provinces being before him, when he showed the riches of his glorious kingdom and the honor of his excellent majesty many days, even 180 days. And when these days were expired, the king made a feast unto all the people that were present in Shushan the palace, both unto great and small, 7 days, in the court of the garden of the king's palace, where were white, green, and blue hangings fastened with cords of fine linen, and purple to silver rings, and pillars of marble. The beds were of gold and silver, upon a pavement of red and blue and white and black marble. And they gave them drink in vessels of gold, the vessels being diverse one from another, and royal wine in abundance, according to the state of the king. And the drinking was according to the law, none did compel. For so the king had appointed to all the officers of his house, that they should do according to every man's pleasure. Also Vashti, the queen, made a feast for the women in the royal house which belonged to King Ahasuerus. On the 7th day, when the heart of the king was merry with wine, he commanded Mehuman, Biztha, Harbona, Bigtha, and Abaktha, Zethar, and Carcas, the 7 chamberlains that served in the presence of Ahasuerus the king, to bring Vashti the queen before the king with the royal crown, to show the people and the princes her beauty, for she was fair to look on. But the queen Vashti refused to come at the king's commandment by his chamberlains. Therefore was the king very wroth, and his anger burned in him. Then the king said to the wise men, which knew the times, for so was the king's manner toward all that knew law and judgment. And the next unto him was Karshena, Sethar, Admatha, Tarshish, Meres, Marsena, and Memucan, the 7 princes of Persia and Media, which saw the king's face, and which sat the first in the kingdom. What shall we do unto the queen Vashti according to law, because she hath not performed the commandment of the king Ahasuerus by the chamberlains? And Memucan answered before the king and the princes, Vashti the queen hath not done wrong to the king only, but also to all the princes, and to all the people that are in all the provinces of the king Ahasuerus. For this deed of the king shall come abroad unto all women, so that they shall despise their husbands in their eyes. Holy shit. Oh man, hey, is this some anti-feminist shit in here? Oh man. Purim is a very evil holiday. You know, Eric W told me like Uncle H did not like this at all. Like, so during like World War II, all of them were all of them were just like saying like, yo, Hitler, you're, oh man, yeah, bro. Anyway, yeah, but yeah, I'll keep reading this. Woo. There's always these like subtext in these things, huh? They always got these little digs when you read these old books. Wow, all right, didn't know that. Okay, where were we? All right, so let me read this again, because this is probably fun. For this deed of the queen shall come abroad unto all women, so that they shall despise their husbands in their eyes when it shall be reported. The king Ahasuerus commanded Vashti the queen to be brought in before him, but she came not. Likewise shall the ladies of Persia and Media say this day unto all the king's princes, which have heard of the deed of the queen. Thus shall there arise too much contempt and wrath. If it please the king, let there go a royal commandment from him, and let it be written among the laws of the Persians and the Medes, that it be not altered, that Vashti come no more before King Ahasuerus, and let the king give her royal estate unto another that is better than she. Oh, damn. And when the king's decree, which he shall make, shall be published throughout all his empire, for it is great, all the wives shall give to their husbands honor, both to great and small. And the saying pleased the king and the princes, and the king did according to the word of Memucan, for he sent letters into all the king's provinces, into every province according to the writing thereof, and to every people after their language, that every man should bear rule in his own house, and that it should be published according to the language of every people. All right, that's chapter 1. Let's see. I think I can only get through chapter 2 and 3 today. Okay. Yeah. So Uncle H identified himself with the villain. Yeah, it seemed like they liked it too, from what I've read. After you mentioned it, I was looking it up. I was just like, okay. After these things, when the wrath of King Ahasuerus was appeased, he remembered Vashti and what she had done and what was decreed against her. Then said the king's servants that ministered unto him, let there be fair young virgins sought for the king. Oh yeah, here we go. And let the king appoint officers in all the provinces of his kingdom, that they may gather together all the fair young virgins unto Shushan the palace, to the house of the women, unto the custody of Hege, the king's chamberlain, keeper of the women, and let their things for purification be given them. And let the maiden which pleaseth the king be queen instead of Vashti. Oh, right. So he's going to pick a new queen now. And the thing pleased the king, and he did so. Now in Shushan the palace there was a certain Jew, whose name was Mordecai, the son of Jair, the son of Shimei, the son of Kish, a Benjamite, who had been carried away from Jerusalem with the captivity, which had been carried away with Jeconiah, the king of Judah, whom Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, had carried away. And he brought up Hadassah, that is Esther, his uncle's daughter, for she had neither father nor mother, and the maid was fair and beautiful, whom Mordecai, when her father and mother were dead, took for his own daughter. So it came to pass, when the king's commandment and his decree was heard, and when many maidens were gathered together unto Shushan the palace, to the custody of Haggai, that Esther was brought also unto the king's house, to the custody of Haggai, keeper of the women. And the maiden pleased him, and she obtained kindness from him, and he speedily gave her things for purification, with such things as belonged to her, and 7 maidens, which were meet to be given her out of the king's house. And he preferred her and her maids unto the best place of the house of the women. Esther had not shewn her people nor her kindred, for Mordecai had changed her that she should not shew it. And Mordecai walked every day before the court of the women's house, to know how Esther did and what should become of her. Now when every maid's turn was come to go in to King Ahasuerus, after that she had been 12 months, according to the manner of the women, for so were the days of their purifications accomplished, to wit, 6 months with oil of myrrh, and 6 months with sweet odors, and with other things for the purifying of the women. Then thus came every maiden unto the king, whatsoever she desired was given her, to go with her out of the house of the women unto the king's house. In the evening she went, and on the morrow she returned into the second house of the women, to the custody of Shashgag, the king's chambermaid. Wait. Did they fire the other guy and get a new guy? That's a different name. So, like, they switched him out. So there's a new chamberlain. All right, Shashgaz. Okay, whatever. Which kept the concubines. She came unto the king no more, except the king delighted in her, and that she were called by name. Now, when the turn of Esther, the daughter of Abihail, the uncle of Mordecai, who had taken her for his daughter, was come to go in unto the king, she required nothing but what Haggai, the king's chamberlain, the keeper of the women, appointed. So I guess there's 2 different chamberlains. So one chamberlain for the concubines, okay, whatever. And Esther obtained favor in the sight of all them that looked upon her. So Esther was taken unto King Ahasuerus into his house royal in the 10th month. 10th month, okay, which is the month Tabeth, in the 7th year of his reign. And the king loved Esther above all women, and she obtained grace and favor in his sight more than all the virgins, so that he set the royal crown upon her head and made her queen instead of Vashti. Then the king made a great feast unto all his princes and his servants, even Esther's feet, and he made a release to the provinces, and gave gifts according to the state of the king. And when the virgins were gathered together the second time, then Mordecai sat in the king's gate. Esther had not yet showed her kindred nor her people, as Mordecai had charged her. So she's keeping her ethnicity hidden. Okay, that's the translation there. For Esther did the commandment of Mordecai, like as when she was brought up with him. In those days, while Mordecai sat in the king's gate, two of the king's chamberlains, Bigthan and Teresh, of those which kept the door, were wroth and sought to lay hands on the king Ahasuerus. Palace coup, baby. And the thing was known to Mordecai, who told it unto Esther the queen, and Esther certified the king thereof in Mordecai's name. And when inquisition was made of the matter, it was found out. Therefore they were both hanged on a tree, and it was written in the book of the Chronicles before the king. All right, guys, I think I have to go, so I'm not going to be able to get to chapter 3, but we'll get to chapter 3 tomorrow morning when I get it. All right, Brian, Uncle H is of the Persian persuasion. German persuasion. Yes, who is Uncle H? Yeah, you know now, huh? Yeah. All right, see ya all. We will continue, okay, with this story. Some dramas happening in the palace. I don't know, the Iranians have a drama in their own palace, I think. Who's going to be the next supreme leader? We shall see. And yeah, I'll have to look at Bitcoin and oil again tomorrow morning. That's kind of like what we have to do. You know, Bitcoin is kind of a leading indicator. Okay. That's why it's important. Okay, guys. Later.